Welcome back to Boxing Hideout TV. I am your host, Juice A888, aka Juice Berry. Whichever one you want to call me is fine. Um, Make sure you visit boxinghideout.com, register there, get in the chat room with the people there. Once again, this is Boxing Hideout TV, home of the ass whooping. Today, we start episode 1 of a series called Fighters That Get Knocked Out the Right Way. Our first episode will be about Manny Pacquiao, the legend, aka Meth Head Manny. As you know, Manny Pacquiao has come out and talked about the dangers of crystal meth use, as he himself was once a user. And I guess he stopped. Okay, so we'll talk about the evolution of Manny Pacquiao in the form of his fights where he was actually knocked out, and see if the crystal meth played a role in any of that. Let's get this started. This is Boxing Hideout TV, home of the ass whooping. I am your host, Juice, aka Juice Berry, or Juice A888, whatever one you want to call me. Here we go. And we are back once again with BoxingHideoutTV.com. I am your host, Juice Berry, and today we are starting our first series of boxers who get knocked out the right way. And this segment is going to be not a diss to anyone. It's really just complimenting these warriors for getting in the ring and putting it out on the line. We're going to talk about their flawless technique and how they get stretched out. And one of the first people I thought of when I think about getting knocked out is Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao's form and his technique when he gets knocked out is A1. And we're going to take a look at some highlights from the past of Manny Pacquiao in his early days, and as well in his prime, and see how he um, handled these moments. You know, it's these are some serious fights he was in. He wasn't just showed up just to get knocked out. That's not what happened. These were good fights. Uh, Two of the guys may be considered cab drivers, but uh, Manny once was a cab driver himself. You know what I mean? And so he came from nothing and became something great, and that's the brilliance of what he's accomplished. And we don't want to take anything away from that. However, uh, we should, not fail to mention that he once was a drug abuser, and his drugs probably, in my opinion, led to some of the incidents in the ring where he wasn't able to function right and ended up getting knocked out, just put to sleep. You know what I mean? Just put out. You know what I mean? Beat down. You know what I mean? Just completely demolished. And how much of a role did the drug abuse play in these ass whoopings? So we're going to take a look at the first um, time undefeated Manny Pacquiao at the time was going up against a gentleman by the name of Rustico Torrey Campo. Torrey Campo was a hard puncher. He wasn't much for winning fights and stuff like that. He wasn't an accomplished fighter at the time, but like I said, Manny Pacquiao was only like 11-0 himself. So let's take a look real quick look at how this played out. Just a real quick highlight. We're going to take a look at the technique of Manny Pacquiao when he gets knocked out.
Torre Campo has carried the fight to Pacquiao.
Oh! Pacquiao out. He's out. It's over. Oh my gosh. It's over. Punch. Manny Pacquiao cannot get up. It's over. Manny Pacquiao. It's over. Cannot get up on time. Over. It's over. Manny Pacquiao. One punch and his eyes are crossed. His eyes are crossed. Torre Campo. Oh, coming out of nowhere. Manny Pacquiao. His eyes are crossed.
His eyes are crossed. Did you hear that? Okay, that broadcast was not that was not Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. That was his home network. That network there was to focus on Pacquiao. He was the star of that fight. His eyes were crossed. It's been reported that boxers' signs of drug use when they get knocked out is their eyes start to cross, especially crystal meth users. First sign. Whenever they get knocked out, you'll notice their eyes are crossed. I might be wrong. I don't know. I don't know anything about crystal meth use. I'm sure I know some abusers of it. I'm sure I can find some people that have dabbled in it. But here we have a real life fighter who's told you about his drug use. Let's take a look at this clip again, just to make sure we all are on the same page. What I'm talking about are those crossed eyes. Okay, listen exactly what the announcer says. There's nothing wrong with his eyes before he gets knocked out.
Torre Campo has carried the fight to Pacquiao.
Oh! Pacquiao out. He's out. It's over. Oh my gosh. It's over. One punch. Manny Pacquiao cannot get up. It's over.
See that? It's over.
Torre Campo has carried the fight to Pacquiao.
Oh! Pacquiao out. He's out. It's over. Oh my gosh. It's over. One punch. Manny Pacquiao cannot get up. It's over. Manny Pacquiao. It's over. Cannot get up on time. Over. It's over. Manny Pacquiao. One punch and his eyes are crossed. His eyes are crossed. Torre Campo. Oh, coming out of nowhere. Manny Pacquiao. His eyes are crossed.
Oh, you got to feel the joy for that Rustico Torre Campo, the joy and feeling he must have had at that moment. You know what I mean? Had he known what that win would mean in the later stages of his career, I'm sure that would have been a parade moment. But wow, the satisfaction he must have had when he laid out Pacquiao. Look at this guy. Here's a photo of it right here. Okay, look at that. Look at this form. Okay, notice one hand is punching the mat, so that means he still thinks he's fighting. Okay, but the other punch is down by his leg, and that's really a sign that he wasn't defending himself right. It wasn't like he got stretched out with both of his hands held high. He was ready to punch, but one arm wasn't in the right defensive moment, right defensive position, and the ultimate result are this curling motion because he got hit in the body. So he got folded up technically like a lawn chair. If you really, next time you take your lawn chair out to the, next time you take your drive lawn chair out to the park or something, wherever you take it to, you'll be able to say, you know what, this lawn chair is just like old Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's form in that fight was really significant because at some point later on, his motions would change. He wouldn't always get knocked out in that same position. Okay, so we're gonna go into fight number two, and this is a good one right here. Okay, this is his second fight. It's the commentators are speaking in another language, and so it's translated here at the bottom in English for you, just so you guys can catch on to what's being said, and you can feel the satisfaction of seeing such a quality knockout. This one right here is quality too. In this fight, this guy's undefeated, 18-0, and he's really putting an ass whooping to Manny's. And let's see how this fight ends up right here. This is Manny's second knockout loss. Let's look at the technique and how he gets knocked out and see if it's the right way.
ขวาอีกเป็นเหยียบใส่โอ้ยหมัดนี้ลงแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้าไปแล้วหมัดนี้โอ้โหงอเป็นกอไปแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้ายก3กรรมการทำให้สกอร์นับเลย
Wow, pretty impressive. So both times he was knocked out to the body. Okay. And this time he learned his lesson from the first knockout, and he didn't fold with the same energy and vigor. He had a little different technique in this one. This one, he more fell forward and sort of dropped to his knees. You know what I mean? And then he did some other motion. Let's look at this one more time and see. It's real quick, but you got to see where the punch lands and how he folds up. It's not the same as last time. It's same shot, different result. Maybe the ropes held him up. I don't know. We'll see.
ขวาอีกเป็นเหยียบใส่โอ้ยหมัดนี้ลงแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้าไปแล้วหมัดนี้โอ้โหงอเป็นกอไปแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้ายก3กรรมการทำให้สกอร์นับเลย
Oh man, wow. The satisfaction and joy. His name is Singh Surat. This guy actually interesting career. He ended up like 74-6 was his record. And the most interesting thing about him was that he never actually left his country or he just fought like he was a career gatekeeper. Like he finished his career fighting people who were 1-0, 12-25. He really did it, man. It was really impressive to see this knockout because of the manner that Manny fell down. It shows that he learned something from the first knockout loss, and he learned not to fall down to his side. So this one he showed us good technique, and this one was better because he didn't fold up in the same manner. Well, you'll see. See this photo right here. This time you can see where the punch landed. See what I'm saying? You can see his hand right there holding him up. Right there. So he was covering so he was defensively responsible for his head. His hand was in the right position. However, you see the wing position of his opposite arm, that would be his left arm. The wing position up there shows that he didn't have his elbows tucked in, and that led for an opening for the body shot to come in there and finish him off the way it did. Now, Manny Pacquiao is a very accomplished fighter, and later on he would figure out how to protect his body from these type of explosive punches. But as you can see from his technique, he was technically being defensively sound with his right arm. It was just the chicken wing on the left arm was probably the result of it. We're going to take a look back at this punch again so we can see the effects of it. Okay, here we go.
ขวาอีกเป็นเหยียบใส่โอ้ยหมัดนี้ลงแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้าไปแล้วหมัดนี้โอ้โหงอเป็นกอไปแล้วนะครับพลิกเข้ายก3กรรมการทำให้สกอร์นับเลย
Pretty impressive stuff right there. So far, Manny Pacquiao has given us some good stuff right here. Now, along the way, as Manny grew and became a better fighter, he would grow. and become bigger. And I would think at this time is when he stopped with crystal meth, and probably at this moment is when he started realizing that there were some drugs that would make him a better, stronger fighter, and they could get past the dogs and the sniff test. And so he used obviously used well, I don't want to say obviously, I might be wrong, because he's never been proven to have used PEDs. But however, um somehow or another he grew in size and kept his power and became more stronger and stronger. And it may not actually be PEDs now that I think about it. I think it may be that just the fact that he got off the crystal meth and dedicated himself to Christ and his family and his country. Like I said, this man is a legend, so I don't want to tarnish his name by ever saying that he did PEDs of any kind. However, I will say that it is known that crystal meth is a gateway drug to steroids. Okay. Anyways, enough of that image right there. We get the point. Keep your arms tucked in proper defensive position, and you won't get stretched out like that. Okay. Now the third fight was way the third knockout loss was way after that. Around this time, Manny had built himself up into a mega superstar, and he had been beating people left and right. You know what I mean? He'd been winning dominant fashion, knocking them out, putting these brothers on their back. You know, putting them to sleep. You know, and he was getting them. I mean, I can I say, you know what I mean? Uh, his resume has some really good wins on it. Morales, Barrera, De La Hoya, even though he was shot, it was a scrub version of Oscar. Um, Cotto, undefeated Cotto, Margarito. Manny was an under, indestructible force, but there was one person that just wouldn't put up with it. He's had losses and rematches and won the rematches and stuff like that, but there was one that just the public wouldn't let it wouldn't let it slide. One, because the fights were actually really good. His fights with Marquez were really good, man. They were classic fights. Give him that. Classics. But for some reason, people just couldn't get the feeling out of their head that Manny Pacquiao didn't really win the fights that they were giving them to him. They just kept giving it to him. First fight, he gets a bunch of knockdowns in the first round, and the fight ends up being a draw. If you start off with a 2 or 3 point lead in a fight and the fight ends up in a draw, you lost the fight. It's the truth. It means out of all the rounds fought, you lost more of them. The only difference that saved you was the fact that you had a 2 or 3 point lead starting out, depending on how the judges scored it. Sometimes they get a little weird when there's money on the line. Anyways, all I know is this is Manny Pacquiao was having a hard time with Juan Marquez. Juan Marquez is a decent fighter, man. Hall of Famer, man. It didn't take Floyd for opportunities for people to say, yeah, he's not ready. But for some reason, Manny had to fight for. Now, the significance of the fourth one is uh, at this time, there had been a lot of heat on Manny Pacquiao about his steroid use. If you guys remember, Floyd Mayweather had these shirts that said, take the test. Manny had all kinds of excuses for not wanting to submit to random drug testing. And so the significance of this fight was after the third fight with Marquez, where it was obvious that Manny got his ass whooped. Marquez You know what I mean? He's you know what? He said F it. If there's not gonna be no random Olympic style blood and urine test, you know what I mean, to prove that this dude isn't on something. If he's not checking for it, that means I don't have to be checked for it neither. Once again, I'm not saying Marquez showed up with anything in his system, but uh, whatever. All I know is he made a right career choice and became a hero in his country. And let's take a look at classic soundbite. Pay attention to Roy Jones, man. It's classic stuff right here. But we're going to look at the technique in which Manny gets knocked out and see if it's the correct way, because I like the second knockout better than the first one because it looked like he learned his lesson. His hand was up and he just got chicken. His chicken wing came out long enough for the other dude to come in underneath it and lay him out. We could take a look at that one more time before we go to the Marquez one. Look at the technique.
ขวาอีกเป็นเหยียบใส่โอ้ยหมัดนี้ลงแล้วนะครับลงแล้วพี่ก้องไปแล้วหมัดนี้โอ้โหมาเป็นกอไปแล้วนะครับพี่ก้องยก3กรรมการทำให้สกอร์นับเลย
Classic stuff. Classic stuff. If you notice, once that Manny got off the crystal meth and became dedicated fighter, his whole structure and physique, everything became different. So you'll notice that his body is not the same when he gets knocked out the third time. Okay, the third time is a charm. Let's take a look at this technique right here.
Tries to roar back to nail Pacquiao with the right hand.
Oh!
That's another knockdown.
He's not getting up, Jim.
He get up.
He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up.
No, he's been knocked out.
Oh man, the memories of that moment. Oh man, steroid users all across the country were vindicated. Like, hey, you sold us out, Manny. You know, he had a chance to stand up for all the steroid users and say, you know what, um, I did it. You know what I mean? I did it. It depends. He could have owned it and said, listen, you know what, steroids are good. They made me world champion 8 times. I was knocking people out. Or he could say, you know what, I tried crystal meth and I got off of it and went to something else. And man, you know, it was the best thing that happened. You know, he could own it, man. Just either own it or just deny it, whatever the case may be. Whatever. All I know is that technique on that third. By the way, don't forget to like the channel, like the videos, and subscribe to the channel and do all that good stuff. I got to make sure I say that more than enough times, because sometimes people get caught in this fantasy about, man, this guy's really telling the truth and he's really spitting some truth in the real stuff that we always been saying. I'm not doing that. I'm spitting the truth from as I see it. And from what I see it, let's take a look at this. Let's look at it one more time. Look at the physique on this dude, man. It's much different than the crystal meth version.
Tries to roar back to nail Pacquiao with the right hand.
Oh!
That's another knockdown.
He's not getting up, Jim.
He get up.
He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up.
No, he's been knocked out.
Oh, PP man. Juan Marquez, former urine drinker. PP man knocked out Pacquiao. It was a beautiful thing. And the most beautiful thing is he did it in a fashionable way. Let's look at Pacquiao's technique here. Let's look at the way he gets knocked out. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that image right there. We call that sliding home head first. As you know, Ichiro was a hero to many people from of the Asian descent. And Pacquiao, I'm sure he's mentioned his fascination with Ichiro many times. And this right here is something that Ichiro would be proud of right here. This is something right here. When you lay it out on the line right here, like this, when you lay it out, look at that picture right there. That's sliding. You're home, safe. Nothing better than being home safe. As Pacquiao slept, the Ichiro slide would always be remembered. The way Pacquiao um, showed respect and honor to the great Ichiro Suzuki, whatever, man, whatever. Just that's honorable shit, man. To do that in the middle of an actual boxing fight, to be like, Ichiro, this one's for you, and then just lay it out on the line like that. The referee had no other option but to just join in the fun, man, and give up the, you're safe. You're safe at home. Look at that image right there. Safe at home, Manny. You made it, man. You made it. If you notice, we're going to look at the video one more time because it was beautiful to watch. Because if you notice, Marquez put his hands on his hips, and he was saying, "This is for the other three fights." You know what I mean? I finally got on your level, and I found a strength and conditioning coach that could provide me the same supplements as you were taking. And this is how it ends up. Once again, pay attention to Roy Jones. Key figure in this, Roy Jones. He knows about not getting up. We'll discuss that later.
Tries to roar back the nail Pacquiao with the right hand.
Oh!
That's another knockdown.
He's not getting up, Jim.
He get up.
He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up.
No, he's been knocked out.
No, he's been knocked out. All in all, I give Pac an 8 in knockout form and technique because well, maybe a 9. No, 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 no. Definitely a 9 because of one, um, the Ichiro slide that he did in the third fight was that's a cool thing to do, man. You never have to, like, some people put on their shorts like something to remember. So it's like an honor or even an endorsement. They'll put it on their shorts or something, or they used to tattoo it on their back. You know what I mean? I thought that was cool for a while. But yeah, the Ichiro slide and the fact that the second knockout he learned his lesson from the first one. Not only did he not roll to the side, he flopped forward, which is surfboard technique, good surfboard technique, and also the positioning of his hands showed that was more defensively responsible. If you look at the first one, he was ready to punch by this glove, and his other hand was down here by his waist. It was almost like he was daring Torrey Campbell to knock him out, and Torrey Campbell obliged. The second fight, he just chicken winged it a little bit based on the technique. One arm up, other wing up, just slid under there, and that's how that all ended. Um, I think that Manny Pacquiao's technique in getting knocked out is A1. I'll give him a 9 out of 10. Uh, there's other stuff that I would have, other, ways he could have got knocked out better. I would have liked to see different than the body shot. 2 body shots is bad. The third one was a beautiful neck snapper. He did the Olay move on him, clocked him, boom, Ichiro slide, boom, it's over with. Okay. But the second one and the first one were the same punch, and so we like variation of our fighters to get knocked out. We like one time they get snapped back, then sometimes maybe boom, maybe two, you know what I mean. There just wasn't enough variation. It shouldn't be the same punch. it was pretty much the same shot that got him the first 2 times. And so uh, for that, he can't get a 10 because yeah, he's got to get knocked out and better. More variety would be more variety of getting knocked out would be more impressive. But other than that, once again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Um, if you like what you see, once again, go to boxinghideout.com and register there. You're going to have some interesting conversations with the people there. Go to Boxing Hideout TV, the YouTube channel. Check us out. We're on the podcast and everything. We do everything here with Boxing Hideout. All we do is talk about the sport, sweet science from a troll's perspective. We invite all internet trolls to join in with us in the movement. This is Boxing Hideout TV, home of the ass whooping. I know that Grammarly, spell check, and all that stuff makes it hard for some of your trolls to stand out the way you normally would. With correct grammar, you probably don't even, you can just fly under the radar. But we're here for you, Boxing Hideout TV. Once again, I'm your host, Juice 8888, aka Juice Berry. This is the first episode of Fighters That Get Knocked Out the Right Way, featuring Manny Pacquiao. Stay tuned tomorrow too. We're doing a 10-part feature, maybe more than that, just depends on how we feel. But so far, we dedicated this to 10 episodes, and episode number 2 is coming out tomorrow. We got a special guest, knockout victim, and you'll be excited to see that video tomorrow. But as for today, uh, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time. Boxing Hideout TV, boxinghideout.com. Go register. Home of the ass whooping. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. This is Boxing Hideout TV. Peace.